like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. I want to kick things off in this segment with our Debonaire Ideal. That's right. This segment is sponsored by Debonaire Cigars. Visit stogiegeeks.com/Debonaire for a list of retailers. I actually found a couple of Debonaire cigars hidden in my humidor, and I was like, score. I found a natural and a Maduro in the first degree size in my humidor. So I've got those on my short list to smoke. Those
I
things are
haven't
just
smoked a Maduro in its first degree. I know they came
yeah,
out later.
they're all awesome. They're all awesome. It's always a great day when I find some that I like buried in my humidor that I've forgotten about. They tend not to hang around in my humidor unless I purposely bury them because I just smoke them. So
Actually, I uncovered. I do have one Salomon left.
I have a whole box of, well,
I,
minus
I
one.
know
I
you
have a
do.
whole box of Salamones that's signed by Phil, which is just one of my prized possessions in my humidor.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's a great cigar.
Will, what's the Debonair Ideal segment for this week?
Um, Basically, it's about how to be debonair when there is a smoking restriction. Um, the thing is this: it for all practical purposes, it sucks with the restrictions they have on us. Um, but that being said,
But now, Will, you say they. A lot of times it is a kind of a city ordinance or a state regulation or even sometimes a federal. I don't know if there's a federal regulation about where you can smoke, right? But that I know of, most of it is town and state regulations about where you can smoke, kind of thing. Is that what you're referring to?
right. I'm
Mm.
I'm referring today as basically the municipalities that are putting
Right.
restrictions in place.
And
Um,
sometimes it's the venue itself that is imposing the restriction as well. I want to make sure we
yeah,
incorporate that because I,
yeah,
I have a
and I,
story. I have a story on this that I think I shared once on the show before, but I'll share it again because it relates to this segment. So
yeah, and here's the thing. First of all, when it's a venue, I have no problem with that if it's a private enterprise. That's a
yes,
decision that could be
that they're
made.
making. Yeah,
Now, I'm seeing a lot of blogs lately cover smoking restrictions,
I am
which are
too. I think it's unless it's your municipality, I think it's really boring. To be
it's
honest
really
with you.
boring. And here's the thing: is it really that bad that a government that you can't smoke in a government vehicle?
Yeah, like
I
really.
mean, honestly, if that's, I hope CRA is not putting their energies into that.
Yeah.
Um, I think they really need to be focused on the private area, in terms of not necessarily, basically give the private venue the option of whether or not to let them make that decision, and then let you as the consumer make that deciding
Well,
factor.
let me ask you this, Will. Is could you make the argument that it's kind of like flavored cigars, right? Like we don't want to let the FDA come in and regulate flavored cigars because then we're giving in and they may just come after the rest of them. So these smoking regulations about where you can smoke fall in the same category. We don't want to let them say, well, you can't smoke in government vehicles and have that trickle down into, well, when you're driving on the highway, which is state-owned property, you can't smoke in your own car. Or when you're sitting outside in your backyard, you can't smoke because the smoke's going to drift in your neighbor's yard, and that's somehow harmful. Like, where do you draw the line with these municipal, state, and local government regulations about where you can smoke? You can't smoke in Central Park. Well, if we give them that, then they're going to come out and say, well, you can't smoke outside in your backyard. That's what I fear. And to me, that's just like the Gestapo saying, like, you can't smoke.
Well, and here's what happened. So you go back to the late '90s when the first smoking bans started going in place, and they basically said, "Hey, look, we we just want to make an area for the non-smokers. So you know what? If you can maybe partition your restaurant, have a smoking and non-smoking area, or your hotel
Yeah.
have a smoking or non-smoking area. That's what we're looking to do. Um, and then they did that, and then they came back and said, "Well, we're not totally happy with that. So what we're gonna do next is we're not gonna allow you to smoke in a restaurant or a hotel at all, but we'll have these smoking areas." So now businesses went and they built these patios and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came back again, and now
They
they're
did.
starting to say, "Well, now you
Got to
gotta
be
think
50
that-
feet. You're 50 feet away from the
50
building.
feet." So that's the problem. Now, where I do have, as far as being debonair about it, I think in the end, as a cigar enthusiast, we got to be respectful of certain things. I really, and I'm tempted to do it myself. Don't go on social media. And I should say, I've done it. Okay, I've probably done it myself. But you probably shouldn't go on social media and basically light a cigar up in front of a non-smoking sign. It's not helping anything. All right. I admit it's
Yeah.
fun to do, but it's probably
Yeah.
not the right thing to do.
I
It's
can't
not
say
the
I
benefit.
haven't done it either.
Yeah, yeah.
Then there
I
are
mean,
some places that will make an exception to that. The place in Louisville that we go to every year has an outdoor area where you eat, and they'll say, "Well, there's really not supposed to be any cigar or pipe smoking out here." And I kind of look at them and I'm like, "Really?" And I'm sitting there with a bunch of people, so they know in the back of their mind, like, there's a big tip coming my way if I let these people smoke, right? And I'm like, really? And they're like, well, as long as no one complains, you're good, right? And if someone complains, you send a round of drink over to their table. And to me, that's being debonair about it, right? I mean, yeah, you really shouldn't be smoking there, but number one, I'm outside. Number two, I try and sit in a spot where I'm not like on top of the people next to us. So last time we had a table on the end and the wind was kind of taking it away from everyone. No one's going to complain, So there's a way to be debonair about it, I guess is my point, Will. And, again, I think it speaks to being debonair. If it's maybe bothering the people next to you, then, buy them a round of drinks.
Right. And, the other thing is, hey, for people who are not tobacco people and you're walking into a cigar store where you could smoke, don't hold your nose.
No.
You're in a cigar store, all right? You're going in there for whatever reason, whether someone is buying a cigar, whether you're buying a gift for a family, but don't do that. I mean, most cigar people will be very respectful. They're not going to blow smoke in your face, but don't start holding your nose. I mean, that's not
my wife
good.
loved this show, Sex in the City, right? And there was a character on that show, Big. They used to smoke cigars all the time. And there was a scene where he was in a restaurant, and he lights up a cigar. And, his girlfriend's like, you can't smoke in here. And the waitress comes over and is like, you can't smoke in here. And he looks around, and there's like one other table with people. So this character in the show is very well off, right? And so he walks over to the table, and you see people kind of laughing and joking. And he tells the waitress, go bring them, tell them all their drinks all night are on me, and lights up a cigar. But he was very debonair about it,
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's a way to do that that's classy, right? And the way they portrayed it in the show, it was classy. So
Right.
That's just kind of when you put that in here, Will, it was stories like that kind of came to mind. Now, one that doesn't really work out so well for me in terms of a story is I was at a wedding, and it was an outdoor wedding. And they had this, huge tent where all the tables were and the dance floor and people are eating and things like that. And I would talk about being debonair. I would not light up a cigar underneath that tent where people are eating and, your mixed company. Not cool, right? And because the tent was kind of closed in on the sides as well, right? So I'm like, you wouldn't smoke in there. Don't be that. That's not debonair. But there was another area, like you walked up some stairs and there was this open patio. And it had a covering, but all the sides were open. So I walked over to the table, closest towards the ocean, and it kind of overlooked the hill over to the ocean. So I walked out to the very end, where I was almost kind of like outside the overhang, and I lit up a cigar. And there was no signs, nothing like that. And as soon as I lit it up, it was like someone had ninja reflexes. Someone that worked at this particular venue, bam, she comes running up. She's like, you can't smoke over here. And I'm like, okay, relax. She's like, you have to go all outside of the front of the building to smoke. So if you wanted to smoke, you had to basically remove yourself from the wedding, go out in the front of the building where all the people were standing out there smoking like outcasts. So kind of ruins the experience. But the last thing you want to do, being debonair, is argue with the person whose venue it is about smoking and say, well, I'm outside. Why the hell can't I smoke? You don't want to go. Don't do that. It's not only going to ruin the time of everyone around you, it's going to ruin your cigar experience, and it's just not a cool thing or debonair thing to do. So that was my other story.
Yeah, I was you'll laugh at me. I was at a Fish concert, and I'm actually a Fish fan. And
It's a great band, man.
a great band. Really, musicianship is unbelievable. And I was on the lawn, and I lit up a cigar, and a couple was nearby, and they were really nice. They go, "Hey, it is bothering us. Can you put it out or move for a little while?" And I said, "You know what? I don't want to bother you guys. I'll go over to an area of the lawn where it's less crowded." But I say, I doubt
and then
my
that
cigars.
same couple proceeded to light up a gigantic marijuana joint. So,
Well, and that's what happened. Not they didn't do that, but what happened, I said, it's probably not my cigar that's going to be giving you problems, but I'll take myself out of the equation. So I came back there and they said, we're really sorry we made you move. It was the marijuana which was really bothering us. So they were, but I said, no.
And then they're like, where's the vending stand? I need a cheeseburger.
You're right. Hemp nut.
Oh, that's funny. All right. So that is our debonair segment of the week. And I want to first talk about our other sponsor, which is M. Bombay, right?
M. Bombay.
Yeah, so M. Bombay cigars represent the most admired cigar culture of Cuba. From selecting the best of the best quality of different tobaccos used for their aging process of the cigars are taken into consideration. M. Bombay cigars are rolled in Costa Rica by some of the most experienced rollers, giving it a unique smoking experience. The band for our cigars portray the most detailed and artistic nature of our small industry. Try the newly released M. Bombay Quesara and the M. Bombay Mora M. Bombay cigars, where the cigar is a way of life.
I'm smoking that Quesara.
Yeah, how's that doing?
I am loving this cigar. I'll try to hold this up to the camera. This is right off the truck, okay? So I lit this up. I had not lit this up before. It is the combustion. Stogie Sand talks a lot about combustion. Really, really good. But the flavors are very, very good on this cigar. It's got a woody profile, some notes of cedar. There's a nice natural tobacco sweetness. I gotta give props to the guys at Toasted Foot, who really were the ones who turned me on to M. Bombay. They were telling me about what Mel was doing, especially with these two new blends. And John and Willie did not let me down with this. And we're very honored to have them, as Mel will probably be on the show in upcoming weeks to really talk about the brand and really get to know him, because I think he's got a good vision in terms of his brand. And the product he's delivering is a very good product here.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's got a little strength for Connecticut too. This is not a mild cigar by any means.
Can't wait to try them.
Yeah. So yep. I'm curious too.
So I smoked La Aurora 100 Años Preferido. These came out 2009 ish.
Sounds right.
It was a limited run. Of just one run of these have ever been produced. Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop was the place where I actually got them. I can almost guarantee they don't have any more of these. And this is a really special Cien Años blend. It was made in this Preferido #1 size. Is that the biggest one? I always get confused. The #1 is the biggest one.
It's the #1.
Yeah. It was made in that Preferido #1 size. Really awesome cigar. Really, really awesome. I mean, the flavors in this cigar are just unbelievable. The Perfecto size. This Preferido #1 size is really, really special to me. Every cigar they roll in this size, dude, is just so awesome. I've had the Maduro in this size. I've had the Cameroon in this size, the Cien Años. This size cigar is just amazing. Amazing. And the Cien Años blend is extremely complex. Spice notes, wood notes, sweetness. It's all in there. These are awesome. I would call this definitely a box split cigar for me. And I heard a rumor these might be back, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Kind of
Ooh.
breaking news here. I don't want to spill the beans too much, but I know that there are people working on bringing this one back, so we'll see what that happens.
When you get that Corojo in that blend and it kind of goes in that, again, that Prefrito getting the tapering effect, it's a real nice smoke.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Let's see. I reviewed a lot of cigars. Well, you might have to help me out. This is the Fuente Rosado Gran Reserva in the 60 ring size. This came out late last year. It was in a lot of the shops that had gotten like some Opus, some Angel Share, had gotten this size as well. And this is a really good cigar. This blend is really good. It's pretty mild. And I tell you what, for a 60 ring, smoked really, really good. Smoked really good. It smoked pretty slow. It wasn't a fast-burning cigar by any stretch of the imagination. Fairly mild. You can take this down in the first part of the day without a problem. I think it's going to age well. I think the flavors are a little bit muted in this 60 ring. Not some of the other 60 rings, there's a small percentage that really wow me. This one's probably somewhere in the middle. I thought it was a good 60 ring offering. And still had some flavors, albeit a little muted from some of the smaller sizes in this particular blend. So, have you seen this one in the shops, Will? I know Fuente is a little tougher for you down there, right?
It's a little tougher for me, and they are just, look, I'm going to say it, they are horrendous at communicating to the media when stuff comes out. Horrendous. So sometimes I miss this stuff when it comes out. It comes, and it goes quick when it comes out. And I do try to keep a pulse on these things, but sometimes it's a little tough. So, but I actually smoked the unnamed reserve in the 60. I thought the flavors were a little muted as well, but I think Fuente does a good job with a 60. They know how to do a 60 ring gauge. Yeah,
that unnamed reserve is amazing for a 60. That's in my small percentage of 60 ring cigars that are just out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, give it a shot if you like the unnamed reserve. What they've done with them. Give it a shot in that 60. I think you'll be surprised
and it's
how well
interesting.
It smokes.
Unnamed reserves in the previous 2 years, super hard to find. Flying off the shelves like instantly. That 60 ring wasn't as popular. And I don't know if you'd call it like a miscalculation by Fuente, but I find that the profile of the person who was smoking 60 is your kind of average everyday smoker that smokes a cigar a day. They're typically stick to one or two or three different brands. They're smoking that 60 ring to get the value out of it. Their interest in kind of those limited edition cigars is very, very low. So to come out with that limited edition cigar in a 60 ring, I've seen a lot of manufacturers miss. I think that Milano in a 60 ring was a miss. I think there's been a couple of others that in that limited edition come out with a 60 ring and they just miss because I think they're mixing those markets together.
Yeah, they definitely are. Well, you can go with guys like when Pete Johnson came out with the Gran Cajono. That was something. He blended that for the 60, and it was fantastic.
And it was a good cigar, right? But is it something I'm going to go buy a box of? Even as a cigar geek, man, probably not.
No, that's exactly what you'll find. But yeah, I thought that Milano was a big miss in the 60.
Yep.
Yeah.
I smoked an Avo 2009 Compañero limited edition.
Oh, is that from the sampler?
That's from the sampler. Now, it's interesting. The ones that I smoked that were aged a little bit from the original run were really, really good. I think they went through a time where they kind of tapered off a little bit in terms of flavor, like they lost a little bit of flavor, even though this one was a pretty strong cigar, especially in the final third. It actually had some strength. The big thing you're going to notice, and if you're an Avo, Davidoff, Zeno fan, like I'm probably in that really rare category where I love the Avo, Davidoff, Zeno, herbal kind of flavor profile that they put in their cigars. But I also like cigars that are the complete opposite of that. Like I love all the Tatuaje and a lot of the earth flavors, like flavors that are totally in the opposite end of that flavor spectrum. There are a few people, I think, Will, that really fall in the category of liking the flavors in the herbal profile. Even Julius Caesar falls into that category.
Yep.
And also are really big fans of things that are kind of in that earthy, spicy, or just the complete opposite of whatever that herbal grassy kind of profile is. When you light up the cigar from the sample pack, I think the tobaccos are not aged. I think this is the tobaccos that are from the original blend, just a different year of that plant. The first third of this cigar, dude, has really a lot of those grassy herbal notes. I liked when I started that cigar. I was like, wow, that's like a blast of that herbal flavor. I'm like, that's really cool. I like it. Now that dissipates, not even through the first third, but that dissipates about halfway through the first third, right? Through the first quarter of the cigar. And it presents some nice flavors. Then it really amps up in strength. Similar to that 2011, this one amps up in strength in the final third. And I think it's a wild ride, I really liked it. I would probably call this a box split as well. This is a really, really good cigar. It's a really good cigar. A lot of it is because of those sharp contrasts in flavor profiles. Like it almost gets this almost like a chocolatey Maduro kind of profile to it after that herbal flavor, which you find that in another cigar. That's what makes this cigar, in my mind, very unique. And some of those aged ones kind of had that more earthy, almost Maduro-ish flavor profile without that herbal note in the first third. So that herbal note, I found, dissipates significantly over time. And so it was cool to smoke this when it still had that herbal profile in it.
Yeah, I remember. I'm just kind of reading some notes I had on that. It's like I remember I got some of those herbal notes as well.
Yeah.
But I remember I had a little bit of a coffee note, almost like you got from a Maduro. That I think if you would talk to Avo fans, the Compañero is probably would finish in the top 3 of that series. That's a very popular cigar.
It is.
And I think it's I can't wait I haven't gotten to it yet. But like I said, I think that 9 to 11, 9, 10, and 11 was like the apex of that series. I haven't smoked anything before 6 though, so I'm kind of looking forward to trying out those first 4 and seeing what's in there.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. Yeah, we're going opposite ways in the direction of that.
Yeah, so I think we may both have the 10 next. I may have my 10 this weekend.
Yeah, the 10. You can call it Mr. J's and see what they have left of the Abo limited editions that Will and I are talking about. They may have select boxes of certain years left over. I would definitely give them a call and see what they have left. I pretty much know for a fact they don't have any 2010s left because I think Will bought them all. So you can send hate mail to will@stogiegeeks.com if you're looking for Avo 2010s.
Yeah, if you remember when I joined the show.
You were like, oh my God, you have those?
I know, and then Stogie Santa kept finding more in the back. I'm like, just send it my way.
Will. Yeah.
Here's my credit card. I took every box of those. Now, that cigar, I am not kidding. I know a guy who bought about 30 boxes of that cigar when it came out.
Of the 2010?
Yeah, he loves that cigar too. I mean, as much as I did. This guy, he lives in Phoenix, and he bought 30 boxes of this cigar.
Wow.
He went to a store in Atlanta and got it. And then the nice thing is that store in Atlanta, I have my in-laws there for Christmas. They got me that cigar.
Nice.
For Christmas, which was real nice too. The box of those. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, they know I like that.
I smoked you sent me a Romeo and Julieta 1875 Cigarros.
That's the new line they launched it's a value price line they launched at IPCPR.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was kind of mild. I have to say, well, the draw on this one was a little tight, so I hesitate in giving it I won't give it a rating. I thought the flavors were really good. I thought it was kind of a midday kind of cigar, very medium bodied. I thought the flavors were good. It certainly wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I'm holding off my rating. I want to try another one or two.
If you need more, they gave us a bunch of those.
Okay.
But it's a very good price point on that cigar. I mean, you're looking at around a $5 cigar.
For a $5 cigar, I would definitely like to try it again for sure.
Yeah, they're using an Indonesian wrapper on that thing, which is interesting. So it's
it was kind of a unique, but it was a unique flavor profile.
Yep.
I smoked an Avo. I want to say this is a number 1 or number 3. What's the big Avo Classic in the tubo? It's an Avo Classic number 3.
I want to say it's the 3.
3. This one, so it's a Churchill size cigar, and Avo is getting rid of the classic line. Is that the rumor?
No, they're not getting rid of the classic line.
They're getting rid of one of the other, one of
They're
the
getting rid
Avo,
of they're getting rid of the signature and the Maduro.
the signature and the Maduro. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Maduro, out of all the Avo ones, I'm not a huge fan of.
Number 3 is the 7x50. That's the one.
7x50. Yeah, I would still call that a Churchill. This cigar was awesome, dude. I mean, if you're gonna light up a cigar first thing in the morning, this is. We talk about all these new Connecticut's. This is just a classic is a perfect name for the cigar. It's classic. It's classic Avo flavors. It's got a touch of that herbal notes through it, but those dissipate. It's got a great sweet profile, a little bit of spice, a little bit of earthiness. I love this cigar. I would smoke more of them. I would call this at least a box split, if not box worthy. I mean, these things age very well. Great presentation in the tubo. Great looking cigar. The cigar looks awesome. It was really good. I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know if the 3 is still going to be available in the Tubo anymore,
Yeah.
but it will still be with the revamped line. And they did consolidate a lot of the Vitolas, but the 3 is still going to be around, but I don't think it's in the Tubo.
Excellent. I smoked an Elohio Habano Robusto. Still very good. I revisited that one. These are great cigars. I'd smoke them in the morning. Great flavor profile. Very, very rich flavor profile on these cigars, which is one of its resounding characteristics. You can get all your Elohio cigars next door at the Havana Cigar Club. So great
Excellent.
offering. I bought
Yeah,
they were running
give
a
'em a
special.
call.
They kind of featured those one day this week. They were offering like a 10% off kind of thing. So I bought a bunch to revisit on the show.
Yeah. They could call for that cigar, right?
Yep, they can call Havana Cigar Club. Yep.
Yeah, because we had a lot of folks asking where they can get a Logio. So give Havana Cigar Club a call.
Now, I smoked a couple of these headline cigars. You sent a couple of these up to me, Will.
Yeah, and I haven't smoked them yet.
Now, were these both Maduro?
No. I
Okay,
think one,
good, because one had a lighter wrapper, one had a darker wrapper. They were
Yeah, one
definitely
is
different
the-
wrappers, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the flavor profiles were in sharp contrast to each other.
Yeah, one is an Oscuro, which is this is a first
Okay.
edition and a second edition. The first edition's a Pennsylvania Seed, but the second one's a Oscuro, so it's dark. Its second edition is darker.
Yeah. So the first one didn't smoke so well for me. I gotta revisit that. I had Paul syndrome, dude. I had Paul syndrome bad today. In fact, one of those Avos I had Paul syndrome on. I had to go get another one. And that never happens with Avo cigars. Rare, right?
That's all
Leave
I
it
get.
to me. I actually made Brenda from the Havana Club. I'm like, you need to pick from the box. And she actually like reached in the bottom and picked one out. And the one she picked out smoked beautiful. The one that I picked out had a tight draw.
Unless she literally takes it out of the box, cuts it, and then places it in your mouth.
Yes. Well, she didn't do that, but I did let her pick the cigar out of the box for me, and that one smoked good. So I'm gonna let her do that from now on. I want one of those, and she's gonna have to pick it out of the box first, and I'll probably have better luck. But this headline, these were Bellicoso cigars. I'll talk more about the Oscuro. I smoked more of that one. This wrapper is extremely oily, very, very oily wrapper, which makes it tough to burn. I probably should have let these sit in my humidor a little longer, so I'm not gonna. I don't think it's their fault. I think they just need to sit longer. In my
Yeah, and they were
humidor.
transported to me too.
Yeah.
To be fair with
Yeah,
that.
so I gave it a lot of slack in the burn draw construction department. I have to say though, the flavor you get off of that wrapper is like that classic like dark Maduro kind of flavor. If you like those dark Maduros, you're gonna really like this cigar. It had that chocolate coffee flavor profile on point. That wrapper is really, really good, and dominates. I think dominates that the flavor profile of this cigar. It was good. Did you smoke these?
I haven't smoked it yet. Now, a couple of things on that cigar. Headlines is being distributed by Sosa Cigars. There's a store in Clearwater, Florida called Fusion Cigar that originally had it. They looked to expand their distribution, so they gave it to Sosa. But Sosa kind of took the cigars and basically reblended the line. So these are all new blends. That Oscuro you have has some tobacco in it, which is it's kind of one of these buzz tobaccos called Andulio, which is that tobacco that they use more for snuff, and they actually cure it. The way it's cured like on these salami rolls, and they literally just kind of put some in there.
Not actual salami.
Not actual salami, but
Oh.
if you actually, but yeah, it's used
I didn't
for
taste
snuff.
salami when I had the cigar.
No.
That might be interesting though.
No, but they wrap it in these pods, and they
Yep.
put rope around it, and it actually hardens. The tobacco gets hard the way it's done.
Yeah, the wrapper was really toothy and was really.
Let's say the wrapper. It's
resilient.
the filler. It's in the filler.
It's in the filler. The wrapper
in the
was
fill-
toothy as well. I mean, the wrapper was really thick and oily.
Yeah, it's a
and it was
Habano
tough. It
swirl.
was tough to burn. I mean, I would say if you're going to smoke these, you want to dry box these. I mean, you want to let them. I didn't let it. Believe me, it was shipped to Will and it was shipped to me. It only stayed in my humidor like maybe one night, so I probably should have waited. But the wrapper looked pretty awesome, so I'm like, I got to smoke these. These look really cool, and the band is really cool too.
Yeah,
You'll
it's
see
like
it
a
in the
new-
Stogies
yeah.
feed tomorrow. Check the Stogies feed. The wrapper's really cool. It's got like a picture of people on a printing press kind of thing. It's a pretty cool presentation. But yeah, I mean, it was tough to burn these things. It was tough burn.
The reason why I'm saying that, I don't know what that Andulio tobacco. I've heard a few reports.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't burn the best in it.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think you got to spend a little time and touch it up. It's not a big deal. It's worth it, especially if you like that Maduro rich flavor.
yeah.
My last cigar was after the Patriots Super Bowl win. That's number 4, Super Bowl win. This year. So on after the Super Bowl, my father-in-law was like, we gotta go have a cigar, right? So we went out and we had a cigar. For my post Super Bowl cigar, Will, I chose the Opus X Love Affair, which I have to say may very well still be my most favorite sized Opus X cigar. I mean, in this thing, it's like a little Hemingway kind of thing. It's the Perfecto or Diadema. We talked about that earlier, right? Well, it's more of like a Diadema. It's more of like a.
It has that nozzle on the bottom.
It's kind of like a work of art almost. It's not quite the same as a work of art, Hemingway, but it's very close to a work of art sized Fuente cigar, and it's called the Love Affair. You've heard me talk about it on the show before. People that generally don't like Opus X, when I give them a Love Affair, they love it. They love it, and they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't know Opus could be like this." And one of the resounding characteristics of the cigar is when you light it up, and like you said, I mean, there's like a nipple on the end, right? When you light that up, normally you have to kind of work your way over the bulb, and it's kind of a tight draw. Not with these. Every single one of these I've lit up just produces billows of smoke with an effortless draw from the time you light it up to the time you put it out. If we have a picture of this, I think we can put up a picture of this one. I paired this with a Highland Park 25 year, which was kind of like my splurge, my birthday / Christmas gift to myself was a bottle of Highland Park 25 year, which just ridiculously expensive bottle. I splurged. There it is. So I paired it with that Scotch and this cigar after the Patriots Super Bowl win to celebrate, and I really couldn't think of a better way to celebrate the Patriots' 4th Super Bowl win in this one against the Seahawks. And believe me, after that game, during that game rather, I was really freaking stressed out. That was probably top 3, maybe pretty close to number 1 most stressful football game I have ever watched in my life. And I've been a Patriots fan my entire life. That was got to be top 3 most freaking stressful games. I mean, in the undefeated season, there was a game against Baltimore that was pretty stressful. And, of course, the Patriots in previous Super Bowls have been pretty stressful. This one might be close to the number 1. I mean, my stress level was high, dude. Like, my heart was ready to beat out of my chest in that game. Like, right up until the very end when it was like, oh, the stress kind of dissipated. But I was still kind of, like, stressed out from that whole experience. And I needed to relax, and that's what I chose to relax. And this cigar, to me, is Oasis, hands down. And this box has been in my humidor for maybe a year, maybe a little less than a year. And just unbelievable. And normally Opus has to age a lot longer than that. This one with a year of age was, the flavors, you get a little bit of that, leather is certainly there, but tons of sweetness. even some wood flavors in there. Oh, it was just an amazing experience. I was like lost in this cigar, paired with this Scotch. Just awesome. You don't need a 25-year to pair with this cigar, but pair it with a nice Scotch, you won't be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Have you had that size before, Will?
I've had that size. It's a very good size.
Awesome
Now, when
size,
you
huh?
when you lit that cigar up, right? How did you light it? Did you typically what I'll do with a cigar like that is I'll really light the whole tip. I
Yeah.
won't just toast the open footer, but I'll kind of light that whole tip. And I find it gets the burn going, but I also find the harshness will be dissipated a lot, because sometimes you get a little harshness when you're
Yes.
getting it from that part. And
I torch a
I
little bit past that, the foot. Not too much though. I don't like to scorch too much of the wrapper on those.
yeah, you got to be
Yeah,
careful with
you
the
don't want to
wrapper on
torch
that
like the
thing.
whole bulb because then you're just kind of scorching the wrapper and you're not going to get the flavors from it. So I like to not just light the very end of the foot, but I like a little bit of that wrapper around for lack of a better term, the nibble portion of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
usually
agree.
Yeah, just to kind of get it started. I won't really. That's what I won't really go into a smoke with it. It's still kind of a pre-light for me as I'm going through that. And
Right,
then once I kind of get past that, it's like, yep. Then I know I'm going to start getting the
right.
flavors with that.
This one, I mean, from the first puff, dude, the draw was effortless, which is
Yep.
amazing. It's just amazing feat of construction on these cigars. All right, well, let's see. Let's wrap this segment up. We're gonna come back and we're gonna do a segment. What segment are we gonna do next, Will? We're gonna pick a segment.
We have a choice of two, so we'll pick one of them on the break.
All right. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the final segment for this episode of the Stogie Geek Show. Don't go anywhere.